from Bewitched with the real Jimmy Deal.
Hi, Carol Connors. How are you? Great to have you on the show.
Hi, Jimmy. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Of course, you are a 5-time Emmy and Grammy nominated singer-songwriter, right? Great to have you with us. You got a brand new book, Elvis, Rocky, and Me. Tell us about putting this wonderful book together.
There it is, Elvis, Rocky, and Me. I think you forgot. I think you forgot the Oscars, if I'm not
Oh, you
mistaken,
got the Oscars too, of course. You've done so much.
and the Golden Globes. And
The Golden Globes. There's no stopping you, Carol Connors.
You're so sweet, Jimmy. What happened was, I was doing a documentary
Mhm.
called, and the Stephen Bergsman, who is the other author, came to me and said, "You have to do a book, Carol. You have to do a book." And I went, "I don't want to do a book. I'm a songwriter. I'm not an author." And he
Right.
said, "Well, this is what we'll do. Every week, for weeks and weeks and weeks, 2 times a week, I'll call you at 8 o'clock in the morning. We'll go through everything, and then I'll put the book together." So we did that for like 6 months. And I would tell him different stories about my life and whatever. And sure enough, there it is. You can get it on Amazon and other
Awesome.
too. And
So
then
many great stories.
I know so much life, thank God, and still living it, thank goodness.
Yeah, I mean, you are responsible for co-writing that Rocky theme. Tell us about that. How did that come about? Just give us an idea. I know I don't want to go too much into it because it's in the book, but give us a roundabout idea how that happened for you.
Well, we had seen a rough cut, so we, Rocky was, drinking the egg yolks, thief, running down the Philadelphia, climbing up the stairs, and
Right,
he's standing there, and and John Avildsen, the director who won the Oscar for Rocky, put him in slow motion, if you remember, and
right.
he's round and round and round and round. Okay, so we had just seen the rough cut, which means, Jimmy, if I would give you a punch, nobody hear it because it's a
Gotcha.
rough cut, right?
Right,
So Bill came to my home, and Bill Conti sat down at my piano, and he went ba 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 ba, and I went, "Oh dear me, what is anybody going to write to that?"
right,
All left, and I decided to take a shower. And in those days, you could take your phone into the shower.
right.
So I called Bill, and I went, "Oh, Bill, uh, I know what life's about. I know what the film's about. I know what the song's about." And he said, "Where are you?" And I went, "I'm in the shower." And he said, "Are you with somebody?" I said, "Bill, I'm a Scorpio. If I was with somebody, would I be calling you?" He
Right.
said, "Give me the line before you electrocute yourself."
Amazing.
He is okay. He said that it's exactly as it went. And the line was, "Gonna fly now."
Wow.
Because at the moment in time when he puts his hands up, and he could go the distance, he could fly, he could even win. Gonna,
Right.
and that's the whole idea of the song. It,
Amazing. Now, originally there was a song supposed to that was they were going to use, right? It was with Frank Stallone, right?
yeah, it was, "He's got a Sunday punch that will put you into Monday." So next to Bill Conti. And I
Right.
said, "Bill, that's not bad. Why do they want us?" It's called a temp song.
Right.
And Bill said to me, "Shut up, Karen. Shut up." And sure enough, this little man that was with John Avildsen, his friend, stood up, and he talked very softly. And he said, "John, you have a remarkable film here. John, you have a great film here.
Mhm.
John," and his voice kept going up, "John, you're probably going to be nominated. John, you're going to win the Oscar for this film. And
Uh-huh.
guess what? The film is going to win if you do one little thing." And we're
Uh-huh.
all going, "What?" And the guy said, quote, "Get rid of that fucking song."
Oh
That's
man.
why I was born. It's
Amazing.
Roger, you better look at this. So that's how it came about.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And you weren't even paid that much, right, to be on the session. And but later on, when it became a hit, of course, you bought a house in Beverly Hills, right?
I got $500 up front, and
Uh-huh.
the documentary Elvis, Rocky, and Me. Uh,
Right.
Erwin Winkler was asked, "Well, why did you hire Carol?" And his
Right.
answer, "She came cheap." But in the end, yes, I bought my home in Beverly Hills. So
Amazing.
thank you, Sly. Thank you, Erwin. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, God.
Right.
So
I just want to ask you, what was Sly like back in those early days? I mean, he was not a star yet,
oh no, he wasn't. Of course not. I mean, he was living in a one-bedroom apartment with
right?
Sauce and the baby, and he was wonderful. He do you know who they wanted to play Rocky?
I don't. Who was the runner up?
They wanted Ryan O'Neal.
Oh, really? Wow.
It just come off a love story, so they
Right.
want him to be Rocky. And Sly, they offered to buy the screenplay, and he wouldn't sell it. He wouldn't sell it. He held out. I mean, he lived the dream.
He
Really,
did. Yeah.
you
Definitely
know.
a good choice in his career for sure, is to hold on to that script.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, I mean, and also you were the lead singer of the Teddy Bears, right? Tell us about that. Working with
Uh,
Phil Spector.
well, it was the first thing. He was dating my girlfriend Donna, and
Uh-huh.
we were going into high school. So I would be twiddling my thumbs and singing, and they would be smooching, kissing, necking, petting, and
Right.
I okay. So one day, and I would always be singing, twiddling my thumbs and singing. So
Right.
one day, me, I love your voice. I'm going to write a song for your voice.
Right.
And you have $10. And I went, Phil, $10? I don't have 10 cents. I'm 17.
Right.
2 weeks later, called me up and he went, to now him. He said, what do you think? And I went, it's nice. I was doing my homework. That's what my
Right.
mother told me to do. I got the $10. We were like the first garage band. The bottom,
Hmm.
we went into the studio. It was not the A side.
Oh,
It was
wow.
the side of the record.
Amazing.
What happened was a disc jockey flipped it by mistake, and at midnight, and the whole place lit up,
Right.
and they got an order for 100, then 300, 500, 1,000, 10,000, 20,000. They went, oh my God, I think we have a number one record here. That's
Amazing.
how it happened.
Yeah. And it caught the attention of a guy by the name of Elvis Presley who really loved your voice.
He fell in love with my voice.
Yeah.
He'd never met me. And one of the Memphis Mafia, the sort of low ring of the Memphis Mafias,
Hmm.
at a market. And he said, aren't you the girl that sang To Know Him Is to Love Him? And I went, yes. And he said, Elvis would love to meet you. He loves your voice. And I went, yeah, right, sure, of course. Oh, me. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, it's always 2 weeks, he called me. My
Wow.
father was jockey, so he lived on the edge. I mean, the guy could have been a serial killer. I went with him. My mother
Right.
said, do your homework, do your homework. But I went with the guy,
Hmm.
met him. So there I am. I walk down these steps, and in the corner is this beautiful man who looks like a cat. I mean, he moves like a cat, and I'm standing there like a mouse.
Right.
Says to me, he comes up to me finally. I can picture it still in my head, and he said, "So, why'd you name the group Teddy Bears?" God, that really is Elvis Presley. And I went, just wanna be your teddy bear, and that love affair. We went together for 9 months.
Amazing. Now I know you dated him when he was in Los Angeles, right? At his Los Angeles home.
He was Bellagio in Bel Air. He had
Lot.
different that, and he was just finishing Viva Las Vegas. And I
Mm.
remember asking him once if Anne Margaret was one of the great loves of his life, and he would not answer the question.
Really?
Never
Wow.
answered.
So a lot of people say he was a shy, humble country boy. Was he like that with you?
Yes, when I went with him, he was quiet. We
Uh-huh.
used to harmonize together. He was respectful. He drank water. He did not I never took pills that I knew of or
Right.
anything. He
Yeah.
was very, very, very special and very respectful. He was very respectful.
Well, and he was the love of your life, right? Your first love?
He was my very, 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 very first boyfriend, first love.
Wow. Did you ever get to go to Graceland at all in Memphis?
Never went to Graceland. I never
Wow.
went to, but we stayed friends over
Right.
the, and he was so proud of me for doing Rocky. He really was. And he was offered A Star is Born.
Right.
You have to fix this, Roger. He was offered, please, he was offered A Star is Born. And,
Uh-huh.
and it's in the biopic. Roger's the great PR guy, and I can't live without him, and he has to do everything because I don't know how to do anything. And he offered it, but if you look at the biopic, Colonel Parker and Barbara did not get along. And
Really?
yeah, and he said, these were his words that I remember, that Colonel Parker said, "My boy ain't gonna play no second fiddle to no Barbara Streisand."
That's
And
great.
he would have done it. I believe it would have saved his life. I
Yeah.
believe he'd been nominated for an Oscar. I don't think he would have won, but I think he would have been nominated. And guess what film he would have been up against?
Would it have been Rocky?
That's right.
Wow.
Up against us.
Oh my God.
Would
You know,
that have been so bizarre?
that's crazy. And he wanted to do that in the worst way because it was a challenge, and he wanted to do a movie, where he wanted to do more serious acting.
You nailed it. You nailed it, Jimmy. That's exactly what it was about.
Hmm.
And the day that he died, I was in the Polo Lounge. It was after the Oscars.
Right.
I was sitting there, and this little man, it was like the Philip Morris man. Like he would always say, "Jimmy, phone call for you. Phone call for Jimmy." And the phone would appear at your table at the Polo Lounge, and everybody would listen to see what you were talking about.
Oh,
He
wow.
came running in, going, "Elvis Presley just died."
Oh,
Elvis,
boy.
and there was a collective sigh of incredible sadness and disbelief. I
Sure.
went, and I couldn't continue the meeting because I was crying.
Yeah.
And I sat down at my piano at 4:30. I think he died at 2:30. And at
Right.
4:30 till 4:30 in the morning, I never ever took a bathroom break. I did nothing.
Right.
All I did was write the song. I never changed a word. I've never changed. I wrote "You Loved My Night" as a tribute to our love affair, and our friendship also. And it's the main reason that the documentary got made, and one of the main parts of the documentary.
Amazing. I had a question from a listener who wanted to know that did you ever hear Menard Ferguson's version of Gonna Fly Now? He's a trumpet player?
Maynard Ferguson's
Yep.
version.
Yep.
Oh my God, how could anyone miss it? It was like a number one record. It was a number one record, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, he was unbelievable. But he had a big hit with it, and Bill Conti, we had a number one record with it. I sang on that, Jimmy.
Oh, really? I know.
We had $18,000 to do an entire album. That was
Right.
it, recording everything. So Bill said to me, "Carol, you have a great voice." So because he knew, once again, the key, he
Right.
knew that I must to love him. He said, "Go stand on an apple box in the back because your voice cuts through." I'm one of the high voices.
Amazing. So cool. That's so awesome. I want to ask you about Robin Leach. I used to work for Robin Leach. I worked for the TV show Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. I was one of his assistants. And I know you worked on his song. So tell us about the theme song that you worked on.
Well, I was at a thing for Victoria Principal. Yeah.
Mhm.
Dallas. Right. Wasn't that? Yeah, Victoria Principal. And I was there, and I said to Robin, "Rob, do you have a song called Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams?" And Robin said, "No, I don't." And I said, "If you do, if I said you should." And he said, "Then write it." So I did. I mean, I co-wrote it. And
Right.
Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams. And it became the theme song. It was on for 10 years.
Right.
And I knew that we needed Dionne Warwick. She was hot as a pistol.
Yes.
Still, but it was her voice. It was that voice that we needed. And you know who played a sax on it?
Who?
Grover.
Oh, really? Wow. I didn't know
Yeah,
that. Wow. And I
yeah.
know Bill Conti also did the musical theme for Robin as well, right? On Lifestyles.
I think he did the musical, but he didn't have the,
Yes.
Albert Hammond and myself and Dion.
Right, right. Yeah, Robin was such a great guy. I worked for him for a little while as an assistant. So yeah, he was so awesome to work with.
Well, I ended up, doing Runaway with the Rich and Famous, and I sunk a piano off of Honduras. And
Uh-huh.
no, it's in the documentary. And I think it's even in the book.
Oh, cool.
And
Yeah,
I sunk the piano in 80 feet of water, and I played Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams underneath the ocean.
amazing. That's so great. Tell us about Disney's The Rescuers.
Ah, that was one of the great, great moments of my life. Um, I had written something for my nephew at the time, and it got to Disney. And Wolfgang Wooly Reitherman,
Mhm,
Wolfgang was the producer director, and he fell in love with what I had written, but they
mhm.
didn't buy that. But he loved the whimsicalness of my writing, and he hired myself to do the music, and Ann Robbins. We did the lyrics together. And I remember saying to him, Wooly, when is the film going to be coming out? And he said, in 4 years. And I went, I'm going to be old.
Wow, amazing. You've done so much.
It was an Oscar nomination. We got nominated for that.
Yeah.
My favorite is the overture. I know that wasn't the one that got nominated, but the one that I loved was The Journey, Who Will Rescue Me. If people go online, they can listen to it. It's really quite lovely. And he had the lead animator go to Point Dune and literally listen to my melody and draw all those scenes in the beginning based on what I came up with in my head.
Wow. That's so awesome. And also you worked with Placido Domingo, right?
Yes, yes. Placido. The best story about I did 4 songs for Placido, but the best story is I think, and it's in the documentary, Elvis, Rocky, and Me.
Right.
And so he calls me up and he says, and this is how we talked. I love to imitate people. He goes, "Oh, quiero. Love the new song. I just love it." He said, "But could you please change just one itty bitty word?" And I went, as my heart dropped to my feet, I said, what word? And he said, "Oh, quiero. It's not a big thing. It's just a little tiny word that I need you to change." I said, "Placido, what is it?" And I'm getting very scared by now. And he
Mhm.
said, and the whole voice changed. He said, "When you wrote this, you called it I Never Believed in Love." I said, "Placido, that's the title." He said,
Oh, wow.
"I always believed in love." And I went, ah, because I had to write a whole new song. There's
Amazing.
no way to change it from one to the other. And I
Right.
wrote that one with his son. The others I wrote with Lee Holdridge, who is also the composer of my documentary. He did the score. But
Wow.
that's my great Placido stories. Oh, quiero.
Tell us about the writing process. How do you come up with these songs? Do you wake up in the middle of the night and what do you like to write about? Is it life experience, love? What's your favorite thing to write about? And how do you come up with the ideas?
Well, first of all, people tell you a lot of things, you
Mhm.
know, and I used to say, "Oh, that's a great idea." But then the person will say, "Well, do I get to share in the royalties?" So now I just, write the thing down. People say things, it comes from your heart. Lots of times, because I'm doing film and TV, it will be there. There's somewhere in the film is the key to what the director or the producer wants, but they don't write songs. So
Ah,
take what they want and put it into something that is a song.
right,
Complete the process. And it never leaves you until you think you are done. Whatever the moment is that you say, "I've done my best. I've done
right.
my best to do anything else." And I remember once being with one of the great loves of my life, Robert Culp, who was
Yeah.
one of my friends. And I remember crying in the middle of the night. And Robert said to me, "Why are you crying, Carol? Why are you crying?" And I said, "I'm being haunted.
Oh,
Can't get it out of my head. It's with you instead of 24/7. think 25/8
Right.
leads you until it's done.
Exactly. What about Little Cobra? Tell us about that.
um, After Elvis, my next boyfriend, he was my first boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
I went with was a psychiatrist. I
Yeah.
think his name was Dr. Vadim Philippe Kondratiev.
Oh,
And
wow.
I know he was Russian. And AC Bristol. Do you know what
Mm.
that is? The English car. It looked similar to a Cobra. Well, I
Yes.
backed it up. So, but Vadim said to me, I just read about this guy named Carroll Shelby, and he has this new car called a Cobra. He
Mm.
said, why don't you go out and see him? He's in El Segundo. So, because I cracked up his car, so I put on my little hip huggers and my little crop top, and Carroll Shelby loved to know him is to love him. It's really the key to everything for me. And I walked into his office and I said, Mr. Shelby, batted my eyes being a Scorpio. I said, can you put a Cobra front on a Bristol back? And he went, I can't do that, little girl. He said, you write a song about my car. He was very Texan. He said, I'll give you one and I'll take you to Le Mans. I went to Le Mans with Carol the year and Lee Iacocca, who was the head of high performance for Ford.
Right.
Cobras. First one I gave back. Second one was the one that my last one, engine number 2544, very famous.
Uh-huh.
And the point is, there I was at Le Mans. They won the next year. They won first, second, and third. And I was there when he went up to Enzo Ferrato, and he said, Enzo, he said, I'm going to beat the pants off you at Le Mans next year. And it was
Yeah.
like the book. I mean, if you go to Elvis, Rocky, and Me on Amazon or anywhere, you can read about it, and it's more extensive. But that's how it came about. And I had a Cobra. I'm the only girl who ever owned a Cobra.
Yeah,
And
you caught the attention of the Beach Boys for sure, right?
Brian was, I mean, I penetrated the all boys club. And
Yeah.
Brian, we always knew it was written by a girl. And I said,
Exactly.
and how did you know that? He said, you can't take your car out of gear and let it close to the line. That's the last verse. I said, bro, that much in front, you can. So it's become one of the most important songs in hot rod surf, California sound music by the
Amazing.
Ripcords.
So many great stories in that book. Can you get autographed copies of that book anywhere?
Well, they can get the book. How would they do that?
Amazon.
Yeah, but we're talking about my autograph. Well, they can get the book.
Right.
And then, if they go to my website, that's a good idea.
Okay.
If they website, www.carolconnors.com. It opens with the piano. It goes to the theme from Rocky, Knock Yourself Out. It's for free. And they email me. It'll get to me through all the different things. And then maybe I can figure out a way to get the book, autograph it, and send it back to them. But they
Awesome.
have to get the book first.
Yes, absolutely. So they can get the book Amazon.com. That's where it is right now.
Yeah, if you go put in Elvis, it's the first book that comes up.
Oh, really? How cool is that?
Well, we were number 4 in back of Taylor Swift, and she was number 1, 2, 3, and then I was 4, and then Alicia Keys and Phil Collins were in back of me, and I can't believe that happened, but it did, and so I guess I'm a Swiftie.
Yeah, I guess you are. Tell us something about Elvis Presley that most people don't know.
What can I say about Elvis? I think what they didn't know is that the first things that he said to me were, why'd you name the group the Teddy Bears?
Yeah, I'm sure he was curious about that. That's for sure.
Yes, he was. He had a great curiosity. He was a good man. He told me once that he could hear every note of, and I understand that being a musician, every note, every singer of every instrument that is going on behind him. He was the consummate musician.
He was absolutely nobody like Elvis. There'll never be another Elvis for sure.
You're right.
Yeah, and of course we got Elvis Week coming up next week, right? In about 2 weeks actually, and so it's a great time to get the book and tribute to Elvis, to read these great stories of Carol Connors and her time with Elvis.
My dolphin call to end with my dolphin call. I'm a scuba diver and a little mermaid. Barbie Benton's my dive buddy. So I'm going to sign off with that. And you have to know that even the dolphins are saying, thank you for interviewing me. Okay. Here,
Absolutely. Carol Connors, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody get the book, Rocky Elvis, Rocky, and Me.
that's my
Yeah.
dolphin.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you so much, Carol. Thanks for joining me. Elvis, Rocky, and Me on Amazon. It's available right now. Pick up a copy. And thank you, Roger Neal, as well. I appreciate it, Roger. And thank you, Carol, for taking the time out to talk to me. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for listening as well. We have one more Celebrity Spotlight coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to take a couple of weeks off, and we'll be back here on August the 19th, which is a Monday, and we're going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Little House on the Prairie with Allison Ongrim, who's going to be here. Of course, she was Nasty Nellie on Little House on the Prairie. So Allison will be here. Nellie, of course. So make sure you join us for that. It's going to be a great time. They have a big appearance coming up in Hartford, Connecticut. And that's going to take place on Labor Day weekend. We're going to talk all about that, the 50th anniversary of Little House on the Prairie with Allison Ongrim. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you so much. Producer Cindy is out there. She's telling me Carl is watching. My good friend Carl Limbo's out there. Also, Laura is out there. Laura Biscotti. I remember Laura from Canarsie. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. Tom Payton is out there watching. So many great people. Also, Beryl and her dad, Michael, up in Virginia, listening. My mom in Canarsie, of course, always listens to this show. Also, Tommy in Gravesend is listening. Thank you so much for your question, Tommy. I appreciate it. And so don't forget to join us on Monday, August the 19th. We celebrate the 50th anniversary of Little House on the Prairie. Allison will be here, of course, Nellie. It's going to be a great show, and we'll talk all about that appearance they are having. It's up in Hartford, Connecticut, Labor Day weekend. And we'll let you know all about that on the show. So I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. And we will see you on Monday, August the 19th with Allison Ongrim and the Little House on the Prairie reunion show. All right. Have a fantastic night, everybody. And thanks so much for listening and watching. I appreciate it. Bye-bye, everybody.